We have a ton of images for you to enjoy showing you weird things that happen all around the world, but is Google Earth truly up to this particular task, or is this just wishful thinking? Without a question, Google Earth is a wise old technological tool. Here are 10 unusual creatures discovered using Google Earth. Number 10. Since the invention of Photoshop and up until the current catastrophe of artificial intelligence, we have been continuously inundated with pictures of questionable provenance and the numerous made-up absurd stories that go along with them. Without a healthy dose of skepticism, it can be nearly impossible to navigate this bold new world, but how can we ever recognize a real image anymore? Now, let's take a look at this picture of an incredibly large crab that was reportedly spotted by a Google Earth user. It turns out that they don't exactly have the strictest standards for fact-checking, and they also like to print big headlines. So, this is Crabzilla, who is unquestionably real, certainly not a meme, and who has reportedly been frightening people somewhere in an unidentified part of our globe. Number 9. This appears to be a photo of a woman standing by a pyramid with strange goat-like legs. It is obviously not a picture of Google Earth, but instead Google Street View. But what exactly is going on here? Is this woman the devil incarnate, or is this just the way the splicing and haphazard Street View camera works well? Who knows? Number 8. This is the instance where using Google Earth might lead archaeologists to a new discovery. Dr. Lee Berger, a paleoanthropologist, was utilizing Google technology to explore a region of the Earth when he came to realize that he could pinpoint cave sites that might contain fossil deposits. He and his team had already dug a few of these cave systems and found fossils there, but he was now able to narrow down a few more locations where fossils might be found by utilizing Google Earth. This cut down on the time and resources needed in the field by reducing the number of possible excavation sites before anyone had to enter the region. What he found was that these were unexplored cave sites at Malapa, near Johannesburg, South Africa, which would aid in the discovery of a species of hominid and these distant relatives of humans who lived 2 million years ago. Number 7. I believe that everyone can agree without a doubt that this is irrefutable evidence of Bigfoot's existence. I mean, this may be one of the most ridiculous Bigfoot photos I've ever seen, but what do you think? The image was taken using Google Earth and the Canadian forests, specifically some trees in British Columbia. However, before you get too excited and buy your plane ticket and head out into the Canadian wilderness in search of Sasquatch, you should probably take a close look at this photo and consider the possibilities. You really can't view it from any other perspective. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a fabled and incredibly shy creature that is said to live mostly in remote wilderness areas in North America. It is described as a large, ape-like being, and for some reason, this creature has captured people's imaginations for centuries based on numerous reported sightings. Footprints and hazy photos, which are still hazy now with all the HD technology we possess, fuel the continued discussion regarding the creature's existence, even if mainstream science will continue to discount it as the result of mythology and misidentifications. True believers insist that there are plenty of hiding spots in the vast, uncharted wilderness for such a thing to exist, which is a pretty strong argument in and of itself. Nevertheless, despite individuals devoting their life to looking for Bigfoot, the myth remains, well, a myth. Number 6. There is no evidence that mermaids actually exist anywhere other than in folktales and storybooks, where there have been depictions of half-human, half-animal creatures and plenty of magical female types throughout history. It's a mystery why mermaids have persisted so firmly in our collective consciousness. Mermaids are some creatures that remain well and truly within the myths and legends. These legendary sea creatures have appeared in stories of seafaring culture ever since ancient times. They've been blamed for sinking ships and seducing sailors. This is a picture that some keen-eyed Google Earth enthusiast has determined captures a mysterious mermaid. Perhaps the unknown depths of the oceans just leave so much room in our imaginations that it's easier to believe in mermaids because the underwater world is hidden from view. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. Now forget about Nessie. The massive and terrifying centipede is the subject of this Google Earth image, or at least it's a shape that some people could be able to interpret as a giant centipede, millipede, or whatever pedy. Whatever it is, though, it's important. Is it a giant creature? Could it be a remnant of a dinosaur like Nessie? Or is it just a bit of Photoshop activity? However, among the options is the rather alluring notion that there might be a sea creature or large insect in this body of water just off the coast. According to Google Earth, the alleged creature would be about 120 meters in length, which is incredibly massive and would be among the most bizarre and terrifying types of creatures we've ever seen. How likely is it, though, that this is such a shady kind of image that the people who uploaded it aren't even sure where it's supposed to be? If it were a giant sea snake, centipede, or anything else, I would imagine it would have attracted a little more attention to itself by now. If you're going around finding things on Google Earth, it's probably a good idea to clarify where it is if you want anyone to take you seriously at all. Number 4. Before you all freak out, this is a real thing. Contrary to what some people on the internet are claiming, it is not a real, live, enormous monster sea serpent. Instead, it is a sculpture that was made by an artist by the name of Huang Yongping. Huang Yongping was a Chinese-French contemporary artist who gained recognition for his avant-garde contributions to the field of contemporary art. He was a leading member of the Chinese avant-garde movement in the 1980s, and his work frequently pushed the boundaries of traditional artistic expression by fusing Eastern and Western influences with provocative themes. He particularly enjoyed experimenting with scale and unusual materials. His sculptures and installations made provocative, audacious statements, and one of his most famous pieces, The Theater of the World, comprised a circular structure covered in real insects, meant to represent the interdependence of life and death. This is the serpent of the ocean. It is 130 meters long and visible from space, so those people who were enthralled with the sight of a massive sea snake skeleton on Google Earth should realize that it is just a sculpture. Number 3. Conspiracy theorists are usually the most sensible people, therefore you should always listen to them when they tell you anything is true. They never say anything without citing mountains of scholarly research and clear-cut evidence to support their theories. Naturally, these conspiracy theorists have found something incredibly horrifying and have put it online for everyone to enjoy. This image was taken on Google Earth, or so they claim. It looks to show an enormous arachnid, but instead of having 8 legs like a boring old regular spider, it has 9 because it's unique. Maybe they just had a little Photoshop glitch. They haven't revealed the exact location of this. There are no coordinates because if you find something truly revolutionary, it's probably best to keep it to yourself. All they say is that it's real and definitely in Mexico. Number 2. Hidden in the northern portion of Mozambique, the forest of Mount Mabua is a biological wonder that is frequently referred to as the Google Forest due to its discovery in 2005 through the use of Google Earth. This 7,000-hectare rainforest is covered in mist and is teeming with biodiversity. What makes it especially remarkable is that its relative isolation appears to have allowed the survival of rare and undiscovered species. Scientists have actually identified a wide variety of new plant and animal species in Mount Mabu, including amphibians, orchids, butterflies, and other species that were previously unknown to science. The richness of it is demonstrated by the broad range of flora and fauna found in the forest. The ecosystem is essential to the preservation of regional biodiversity, and its importance goes beyond. However, risks from illegal logging, agricultural development, and climate change also exist beyond national borders. In addition to preserving a special ecological site, conservation efforts are being made to protect the global biodiversity that flourishes within this ancient and enigmatic canopy. Local and international organizations are working together to establish safeguards while encouraging sustainable practices that preserve the forest. Number 1. Here we are in Merseyside, England, and we are informed that a gigantic sea monster was seen on Google Earth. Let's have a look. The alleged sea monster was observed in 2010 by a radio DJ who had a lot of free time. Simon Hopan became immersed in focusing at Google Earth when he noticed this unusual form in the Albert Port at Merseyside. It appears to be a shark, but as sharks are not typically spotted in UK harbors, this would undoubtedly raise quite a commotion. Nevertheless, after investigating the matter, specialists concluded that the shark was most likely a basking shark that had just become disoriented, not a lethal great white like in Jaws. In addition to being a monster that is 40 feet long and weighs a substantial 10,000 pounds, some of the ocean's gentle giant basking sharks are the second biggest in the world. Only whale sharks can be larger. The basking shark only eats plankton and catches this prey in a particularly unique and incredibly weird-looking way. That's all for the bizarre creatures and pixelated pictures we have today. Which of these seems the most real to you? If you've ever seen anything amazing on Google Earth, please share in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching.